Welcome to Wisdom to Wealth. This is the podcast where I get to interview the wealthiest entrepreneurs and business owners in the world. I am your host, Shamar Star Cox, TV producer and marketing coach. My goal is to help 6 and 7 figure business owners get seen, get paid, and live free by creating binge-worthy videos on social media. I am also the founder of the Convert Content to Cash Challenge. So if you are a business owner, you are a coach, you are a service provider, you want to know how you can use social media in order to increase your reach and your revenue, feel free to DM me the word challenge accepted on Instagram, LinkedIn, or TikTok, and I will personally send you an invite. Today, we have the powerful Sarah Walton with us. She is a success coach and business mentor who's been featured on the Today Show, speaks at women conferences all over the world, and has helped hundreds of women start and grow businesses that they love. She's the voice behind the Game on Girlfriend podcast, and she's known for her live Coffee with Coach streaming video conversations and weekly Sarah Uncut videos. She's created a successful business and now speaks across the nation, offering her courses and workshops, which are designed to put more money in the hands of more women. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's so funny. You're saying all these wonderful things, and I'm like, who is she talking about?
I know.
You're like, what? She sounds cool. Who is that?
Yeah. All the time when someone reads my bio, I'm like, oh wait, that's me. Like, and you did amazing things. Like, I'm really excited for this conversation. I titled it The Lie Women Believe About Money and the Truth That Builds Empires. I know there was a lot of lies you had to overcome. So let's just get into your journey from zero to wealth, from where you started to how you got here now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it started in a little town called Provo, Utah, far, far away from where I live now on the East Coast. But I was raised by a single mom. We were incredibly, incredibly poor. And when I say poor, I'm talking like half a loaf of bread that my mother had made from scratch and a jar of honey. The end. Like, I mean, it was literally that slim. And my mom would make me dresses and things. She did such a good job of making do with what we had. She got me a doll and she'd make me an outfit, and with the scraps, she'd make a doll and out. Like, so I didn't realize how poor we were. We were really, really, really poor. And when I was about 4, I want to say 3 or 4, I was watching a PBS fundraiser way back when we used to have those. And they were showing the Nutcracker, the true ballet Nutcracker. It was so beautiful. And I remember just turning to my mom and saying, I want to do that. I don't know what that is, but I want to do that. And obviously we didn't have lessons, money for lessons for me to take dance classes or anything. But what I could do was try out for the high school dance team. Like that I could do. It's called a drill team. And what I did was I watched a lot of MTV. Okay. So like there used to be MTV where it was just videos, not a whole bunch of crazy people in a house. But so I would watch Paula Abdul and Janet Jackson. And this is how I learned to dance. I could throw chairs, dance with like cartoon bunnies. It was great. It was great. I did all the things. And then it came time to try out for the high school team, and I made it. And I was so excited. Like, oh my God, head exploded excited, right? And we lived in a really tight-knit neighborhood. So other people knew that I had made the team. People were bringing over flour. I mean, it was like a big deal. And then we got the letter about how much the dance team was going to cost, right? The jacket, the unitards, because, it was the late 80s, the shoes, right? The competitions, all the stuff. And I don't know if you've ever had one of those experiences where you like watch yourself go through something. You're like, that's happening to her right now. It was kind of like that. Like my stomach fell through the floor. My mouth got dry. My hands got sweaty because there was no way. Like there was no way we could afford to do this. And this is something I'd wanted for as long as I could remember. And so what I did is I went and got a job at the mall. And for those of you that don't remember what a mall is, just think of Stranger Things. Okay. Right. And I sold tchotchke crap that nobody needed from a little cart in the middle of the mall, right? But it was cool. It was the 80s. People bought that stuff. It was max headroom, the whole thing, whatever. I sold a whole bunch of stuff for $3.85 an hour. And it came time for me to cash my very first check. And I was so excited because it was enough for a down payment on my dance costumes. And what we did at the time is there used to be these service kiosks at the grocery store. So because I didn't have a bank account, my mom took me to the grocery store with my younger half brother. It was just the three of us. And as we're walking into the store, my mom says, Sarah, the strawberries are on sale. Can we get some? Now, if you're a therapist, your head just exploded. I know. Don't worry. Lots of work has been done. It's all good. And that's a whole other podcast episode. But for this moment, right, I was thinking of the costumes and I'm thinking of the strawberries. And I'm like, yes, I can do both. This is amazing, right? So I go to the service desk. I get my check cashed. I now have money in my hands. I feel like a bazillionaire, right? Because I've wanted to do this thing. I now have the money to do it. Oh my God. And I go to find my mom and my younger brother in the express checkout lane and they're not there. And I'm like, so I look up and down all of the aisles and I see my mom in line with a cart full of groceries. And this is a cart full of groceries I know she can't pay for. There's no way. And I'm looking at that cart. I'm looking at the money in my hand. I'm looking in that cart, right? There is milk, my brother's favorite breakfast cereal. There's lunch meat for his sandwiches at school and bread, strawberries. And I'm sitting there looking at this money in my hand and looking at my younger brother in the cart, right? Little feet hanging out the front. And I'm like, I can pay for something I've wanted for as long as I can remember. Or I can pay for food for my family, but I can't do both. And in that moment, at the ripe old age of 16, right, I decided right then and there, I was never going to be able to take care of my family and myself at the same time, that I would always have to choose. So cut to, I have 65 cousins. I know that's a lot. I was the first woman in my family to get a college degree. I went to UCLA. I lived in Europe for 2 years, building houses for the homeless, learning how to wire electricity and speak French like a native, though I can't read or write. Don't tell anyone. And I come back to the States and I moved to New York City. I get this amazing job. I'm working my assets off, as one does in New York. All too well. And by now I'm married. I have 2 children. And I'm sitting in my beautiful glass corner office where I get to be upset if we don't send more than $25,000 to Facebook every week on ads, right? Like, it was so cool. And I'm sitting in my office and my daughter calls and says, Mommy, I miss you. And I'm just sitting there and I'm listening to the clock in my office that I bought at Target, it's just sitting there and it's clicking away the seconds of my life. And I don't want to be there. I worked with wonderful, wonderful humans. They were so great, but I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be home with my family. And at that moment right there was when I remembered that a 16-year-old girl was running my life. There was a 16-year-old girl telling me over and over and over, I couldn't take care of myself and my family. So while I was making a ridiculous amount of money and they were taken care of, I was miserable. My stomach hurt all the time. I was always sick. I probably weighed 15 pounds less than I do right now. Like, it was just not great. But my family was taken care of, right? And that was the moment I remembered my grocery store moment. And here I was in this amazing job, always the only woman in the room, talking about culture, corporate culture, what works, what doesn't inside of corporations, how we could make things better, what our financial projections are. And I'm like, why am I the only woman in the room always? This is weird. But it was me and the head of HR. And I'm like, what is going on? And I realized, I think it's kind of by design. I'm not saying there's a big bad out there, but it's by design that women aren't in these positions. And there's so much that leads up to that, which we can unpack if you'd like. But in those moments, I realized, perhaps my job was to make sure that what happened to my mother that day, what happened to me that day, never happens to anyone else. And that understanding how money works and how it flows is not hard. And we're made to believe that it is, or we're made to believe we don't understand it. And that goes for everybody. I mean, they do this to men as well, but women seem to take a harder, frontline brunt to that idea that it's too complicated or too hard, or we're supposed to not be good at it. And I think that's sort of in the collective unconscious, right? Women just started handling money, right? Before that, the 76, when we could get a credit card to mortgage without a man, we were passed, from daddy to husband. And we never touched money. We were an obligation. We weren't supposed to produce our own. And I think there's some of that that's still really, really residual, especially in this country. We have a lot of factions of that, right? There's so many different stories we have about money coming in through cultures, ideas, trends, you name it. And so a lot of people are like, Sarah, what did you do that day? They're like, what did you do? I bought the groceries. I bought the groceries for my family that day. And one of my best friend's mothers heard what had happened. I came home crying and I told my best friend, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she told her mom about it. And her mom, it makes me cry still to this day, but she bought my costumes for me. And I just got chills again. And I tell this story. It's known as my grocery store story. Like, it's like, Tony Robbins has stories. Sarah Walton has the grocery store. Everybody knows the grocery store story. And in 2019, right before COVID hit, I held a conference just outside of Salt Lake City. So I could bring like my East Coast life to my middle of the country life. And it was amazing. And the woman who bought my costumes got to come up on the stage and I got to thank her publicly. And it meant so much because her showing me what women do with money, right? How generous we are, how we understand its currency. It's like a current. It is supposed to flow. It is supposed to move. And she taught me that. And then she passed away in 2020. So it was so great to be able to thank her publicly because without her, I wouldn't have been on that stage at all. There's no way. And so that's my journey. Soup to nuts. There we are.
Oh man, I almost started tearing up. The story is so powerful because like this one lie, it was driving your life. And I love that you called it for what it was. This 16-year-old was driving my life. And oftentimes we don't recognize that our childhood trauma, whatever age we are at the trauma is who shows up when we're trying to lead our lives. And so I love that you talked about that, but I also love that you just showed grace. Right? Because I was over here like, please tell me she didn't give up on her dreams of dancing, even though you told me the story already, but it doesn't matter. That's what makes a good story. But I love that, I'm going to obey and I'm going to sacrifice for my family. And in you doing that, you were able to reap because somebody said, you know what, I'm going to bless her. And sometimes we don't know where the blessing is going to come from, but we don't want to release the seed either. And God is often like, if you just release the seed, I always have something there for you. I mean, even sometimes I gotta tell myself that because I'll be like, I don't want to do this, right? But he really does always come through. So I love that. So let's go. Now, this is something you did not share. I want to talk about the faith that you grew up in and the teachings that they were teaching men about money and what they were teaching women about the money.
Oh, well, there's a can of worms. Let's open it, shall we? Let's do it. So it was a very, very patriarchal religion. And I remember hearing, there's in Mormonism, there's something like a called General Conference, and it happens twice a year. And I remember this is when like you don't go to church that weekend. It's on a Saturday and a Sunday, 4 hours each day. And people give talks and, changes. They tell you how many people are Mormon now. Like it's fine. Like whatever, it's a thing. And I remember playing on a swing set. I think I was 8. And one of the talks that morning had been about how selfish it was for women to work outside the home. And that was basically prideful and sinful, that a woman should be home with her children. And it's one thing if the family needs to eat. It's another thing if the family wants a boat, right? And it was like, that's so selfish. Don't do that. And it was very confusing for me. One, because I loved learning. I really did. Like, I loved understanding science. I loved understanding how things worked. I really wanted to go out into the world, but my mom wouldn't work. Like, and I'm going to say it that way. She would not work. She was an incredible artist. Oh my God. I should show you some of the work she did. She was just incredible. She wouldn't do it. She's like, no, I'm not. I'm not. And it was like, oh my God, what a shame. Right? Because she was so good. And I couldn't reconcile this idea that a loving God wouldn't want me to express myself or be a person on this planet. And I watched my mom struggle from thing to thing to thing. We never had anything. Right. And like I said, she did a great job of sort of piecing things together. She really did. That was part of her art. But she was never like, okay. There was always an edge and anxiety that was just nonsense. And even at 8, I remember playing on that swing set. It was yellow. I remember playing on that swing set thinking that's, I think I said something like, Heavenly Father, help me understand that. Because that doesn't make sense to me. Because I don't think my mom's happy. And then what do you do with that? And so there was that piece of it. And then I think I really believe the patriarchy harms men as much as it does women. And when I say the patriarchy, I'm not just talking about old white men, though that is who perpetrated the patriarchy, but the systems that we still live by. The entire structure of our society is a lie. And the way that I like to talk about this, I know we need money to live. I love money. Money's wonderful, all these things, but it's so ridiculous that this has caught on that we have to hustle and kill ourselves basically to pay for a house we don't want to have to take care. I mean, I don't understand how this is happening, right? And it reminds me, one of the things my mother did do was really study the journals of Christopher Columbus. It was like this thing she had. She would just dive into it and really reporting back on how, the native chiefs, the human beings who lived here, even when they were enemies, would talk to each other about the mental illness of the white man. And like, they keep asking us, who owns the land? You can't own land. That's not a thing. What is wrong with that? And it was like this illness they kept talking about, this greed to just eat up more and eat up more and eat up more. And it's insatiable. And we're watching that live on the political stage in the United States right now. It's insatiable. Like, there's never enough. It's like, at what point are you going to stop hurting yourself and other people for this thing that can vanish? It's not even real. We all agree that it's real, right? But when we get down to our cells, our atoms, our neurons, right? It's mostly all space. There's less than 1% matter, and we're hurting each other. We're hurting our planet. We're hurting the air we breathe, the food we eat, our children. We're making our children stay in school for 12 hours a day so they can go work in factories that don't exist anymore. It's just like, what is happening? And it's caught on like it's all real. And I think that is the biggest lie that we live with, is that we have to feel harm in order to get reward. And that is a patriarchal idea. And I don't think it's real. I just won't play in that space anymore. And I think the idea that we're here, we're here to experience love and joy, just like all the animals, that live in my yard all the time, right? They're just out hanging out. I've never seen a squirrel who's late for a meeting, right? I mean, they're just out living life. Woohoo! Right? We've got this man-made construct of time. We've got man-made construct of the internet, like all this stuff. And we're not living on this gorgeous planet that gives us everything we need all the time. Just like you were saying, it's always provided for. And instead of looking at what's been provided for, we are harping on what we don't have, that we don't even need. That makes you happy for about 2.5 hours. Maybe if it's the car you wanted, it's a week or two, and then you're bored again. And you're hurting yourself, your family, your time, this one life that we have to get more of that 1 week experience. It's fascinating to me. And when we think of moms and we think of the feminine and how much we love each other and our children, for example, right? That old phrase, a face only a mother could love. You don't need to do anything to be worthy of wealth. And wealth is of the universe, in the universe, of God, whatever your belief system is, it's already here. And we get to dance in it for a little while. And then we leave the planet. You can't take the money with you. That's not a thing. It's made up. It's man-made. It's not real. So here we are giving up this beautiful life experience that we have to play in something that's already ours.
Oh, so good. So good. I'm just in here just soaking up everything that you're sharing, because you're just exposing this system for what it is, right? And I like that you were really able to identify it. It's not just white males who are playing by this system. This is a full system that a lot of people are playing by. It's like we are trained and conditioned to see and operate in lack and scarcity. And I like how in your story, like there was a lie you told yourself at 16, but even before that, it was also being perpetuated inside of you through religion. And I'm pretty sure you can name TV shows that it was being perpetuated through. You can name friends. Like, this is just how we are growing up, and we're being conditioned in this. So now when we get older, we're either hustling for money, grinding for money, don't want money at all, right? When in all actuality, this is our birthright to just be abundant, period, right? So I would love for you to touch on, okay, so we know what the lies are, right? And you talked about, getting these things to feel a feeling that is fleeting. Anyway, the things itself is fleeting. Let's talk about how you're able to help women to get more money in their hands, but not just that, really just live this abundant life where that feeling that they're chasing, they get to have whenever they want it.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, that is the truth of it too, right? It's like if we really sit back and I say, okay, I drop $10 million in your account right now. Let's just pretend that happens, right? Like for everybody listening, you and me, like 10 million, bam, Insta, right? It's there. Oh my gosh. Okay, now what? And like, if you feel that for a second, you're like, oh, wait a minute, wait. But I thought it would solve all my problems. It can. Sure.
I'll tell you this right now. You drop it in my account, I'll be so excited for a good week. And the next week I'll be crying. Why am I not married yet? So
pick a thing, right? You'll pick a thing. Yes, that's brilliant. Yes, that's exactly right. And I mean, listen, if you have bills that need to get paid or stuff you want to do, or you want to invest it, or you got a friend you want to invest in there, like, oh my God, great. Then what? Right? It's like, oh, so it actually doesn't solve any problems. You know, I have a girlfriend of mine who I just love and adore. She helps women and their relationship to food. And she says to people all the time, life-changing, right? This one little phrase, you guys are going to go, and you're going to remember later when you go to get a snack. If hunger isn't the problem, food isn't the solution. I just love that. It's like, ding, 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 right? And it's like, if joy isn't the problem, money's not the solution. And here's the thing, right? The lack of joy, we can access that at any time. You watch a kitten play inside of a paper bag, right? Like you're going to laugh, you're going to experience joy. Go outside and literally, I know I sound like a tree hugger, but literally go outside and stand next to a tree and feel its power. It is unbelievable how much power, and we think they're just sitting there, but you can feel it. It is so joyful to have those moments. Watch a baby laugh. The joy is here all the time. And that is what you think the money is going to give you. And so what we do a lot is we borrow our confidence, we borrow our validation, we borrow our worth from the money. And then when the money's gone, we don't have worth, we don't have value, we have no permission, we have no confidence, like pick a thing. We don't have it now. And that is so silly. I mean, there's a lot of other words I could use, but it's just fruitless, like so futile to do that. Anytime we attach our worth to something outside of who we are, you're fragile. And that's what we're seeing on display right now, right? That's why people can't get enough, because they're so fragile. They feel so vulnerable, right? Because their worth is not here. It's not inside of themselves. So they must conquer all. And it's like, what? No, nope. Because that's going to get taken away too the second you die. That's not real. And so when we can have the worth come from inside, what we do and what I really teach is, it's almost like an anti-hustle. I call it the feminine wealth method, but it is allowing, we create as feminine beings, right? Not meaning like super feminine, but I mean, on that spectrum, on the left side, we're the feminine side, right? We create from nothing. We actually literally grow people. There are no people and we grow them, right? Like out of nothing becomes something. That is our expertise. We're so good at it. And that is where all the money is. And so what people don't understand is you think it's in the lie of the hustle, sweat, blood, tears. I can't spend time with my family. I've got to do it this way. This white guy book told me I got to do it this way, like whatever that is, right? There's always that energy of like, how's the hustle? Did you work hard enough? Did you foreclose on your house yet? You're like, what are you talking about? The most beautiful wealth stories come when someone allows the idea, doesn't fight for, doesn't search for, allows the idea and listens when it hits. And from there, it takes courage to act. That's it. End of list. Like people are like, no. I'm like, no, really, it's that simple. From creating friendship bracelets to all of the what are the beautiful bakery shops that we see all over the nation. We're like Patagonia. We're talking about Nike. We're even Apple. Like pick a freaking thing. And people are like, yeah, but those are big, huge conglomerates. Okay, fine. And I'm so sorry to do this because J.K. Rowling has not become my favorite person lately. However, because we're not children and we don't have to do black and white here, right? What she did do that was brilliant was she saw a face of a little boy with a scar and glasses. That's all she did. She was on a train worrying about feeding her baby. And she saw this face. She saw this face and was like, who is that kid? What's his story? Now, she could have left it at that. Took the next courageous step to go to a cafe every day so her daughter could be warm because she couldn't afford heat, and wrote. And then got rejected by 20 different publishers. 20, right? Courage. Courage is the skill. courage to do the next step, courage to do the right. That's really what it takes. And getting up when it doesn't go the way you want and trying again, that courage, that is involved in business. But if you were gifted the idea, it's yours to birth. And what is rightfully yours can never be taken, right? And what's rightfully yours will never go away. And what's rightfully yours will always be delivered to you, but you have to allow it. That is the but. And you allow it by displaying courage over and over and over. And as much as she's not my favorite person right now, there was a beautiful documentary on her where the documentary director took her back to her apartment where she was living when she wrote the books. And whoever was living there, makes me cry, had all of the books in their bookshelf. And she just was like, oh my God, I can't believe how full circle this is coming. Like, it was like, oh my God. And that's the magic of the universe, of God, of the massive abundance we live in. And what the patriarchy does is, that's stupid. What do you mean you saw some kid with glasses? What are you talking about? That is so, go get a job. And that's where we get tangled up in the lies again. And we forget the truth is there's a story there. And that when we tap into the beautiful creativity that we are given, especially the feminine energy we are given to birth, when we tap into that, then we tap into the masculine side that helps us execute, right? And that's how we have that beautiful balance between the two. We have just been off balance for so long. It's time to bring them both back, right? So in the J.K. Rowling example, the feminine was seeing Harry Potter's face. The masculine was executing every day. The masculine was getting up again and having that courage, and to tweaking the story when she knew she allowed the feminine back in. No, I don't want that to happen. Oh yeah, that's the story, right? And having the courage to go back. Nope, I don't like that way. Let's do this. Ooh, I don't know. Let me think for a minute. Let me pause. Oh, there it is. And then you execute again. And so when someone comes to me and they're like, Sarah, I need money right now, this second. Like, which happens, I'm like the abundance lady. They're like, really? Right now? Can I get it? I'm like, yeah, it's all floating around. There are trillions of dollars that have moved hands since we've been talking. Like, it's all out there. It's all here. They're not, it's like, it's not like it goes out into space. Like, it's all here. It's all here right now. It's circulating around us all the time. And then there's that moment where we decide to almost is it the turtles that get into the wave inside the ocean? They get into that current, right? And that's why money's called currency. You can slide into the currency, or you can stand back and watch other people swim in it, or you can step into the currency, right? And so when somebody says, I need money right this very second, I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. What are your gifts? What are your talents? What are you here to do? I'm really good at this. I'm really good at that. Good. Go give that away. And that's the first thing I'll tell people. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, go give it away. Give away a piano lesson, bake a cake for somebody, create a piece of art for someone else, create a piece of music for someone else, tell a story that you've always wanted to tell and just share it with your friends. And then what we do is we say, okay, God, universe, highest power, whatever, right? Whatever your belief system is, it always works, is, okay, I'm keeping my agreement with you. You gave me these gifts. I'm giving them away. I'm sending you the invoice. And watch what happens. It is wild. I don't understand how it works. I wish I could be like, and then molecularly, I can't do that. I don't know how it works. And I know it sounds crazy, right? But I swear it works. Every time. And I'm always shocked. I'm like, well, I didn't see it coming that way. That's bananas, right? So for example, I love this. And these are real world examples I love to give people. So there's the practical side of money, and I'm happy to teach that too. I do believe in emergency funds. I absolutely think women should be investing. We're so freaking good at it. Oh my God, we're so good at investing. I just took my daughter to Disney World on pretend money is what I call it, right? It made money all by itself. And then I took that money it made and we just went and had a party. It was amazing, right? Like, so good. So there's the practical side of money, sure. But like just 3 weeks ago, my washing machine broke. I was like, ugh, that is the last thing I want to spend money on. Are you kidding me right now? You know, and I'm like, oh, son of a gun. Thank goodness for my emergency fund. And then I was like, I want to give something away. And so I went and I did a really high value live. I just went live and I was talking about the power of money. I was talking about how I do emergency funds. I was talking about how you can get started right now, how to work through debt. And I was like, you know what? I don't know who needs this today, but I'm just gonna do that. And then I literally said, all right, universe, do with that what you will. And I kid you not, within 10 minutes, a course I have not advertised. in a really long time. It's called the Money Mindset course. It was the very first course I ever made, sold just enough for the washing machine. And I was like, really? That fast? I was like, you're awesome. Now, does it always work that way? No. Another example is I got divorced earlier this year, and my ex-husband and I are really good friends. And because we were married for all of 2024, legally, right, we could file taxes together, but I'd forgotten about that. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I got to do my taxes. I was like, hey, universe, if you could handle this, that would be awesome, right? And again, I called somebody who just needed free coaching. I'm just going to give away my gifts. This is what I'm here to do, is to inspire people, get them jazzed up, right? Kid you not, I wrap up that call. My ex-husband calls me and goes, hey, are you cool if I just handle our taxes for this year? And I'm like, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. I mean, I don't know how this works, you guys, right? I don't know how it works, but I will say what I do know is it doesn't work without faith. It doesn't work without certainty. So I don't mean faith like, I believe, like not like that, but a certainty that you're here to thrive. A certainty that you wouldn't have the wishes that you have if they didn't belong to you. Like, I don't want a pink Cadillac. I couldn't give two rats behinds for a pink. I could not care less if you tried to pay me to care less, right? Don't care. Someone else that is like, oh my God, that's all I want. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? We don't want the same things. It wouldn't occur to me to ask for that. And for someone else, they've been dreaming about it for a long time. That's the way this works. And there's enough. You know, one flower that's pink doesn't grow up to the flower next to the flower that's yellow and go, she's so much prettier than me. That's like not, what is that? That's not a thing. The pink flower is here to be pink, and it pops that color. That's its job. And as it shows up and does its job, the universe pays it with nutrients and water and sunlight and the perfect oxygen and the right like insects to cross pollinate. The flower doesn't have to work to thrive. It just is. It's in its DNA to do what it's here to do, and then it will be taken care of. And that is the same for us. So if somebody is freaking out right now, one, you can sell stuff in your house you're not using. Go on Facebook and do a Facebook sale right now. Seriously, no joke. You'll have everything you need taken care of. We all have more stuff than we need. And people don't want to buy new stuff anymore. It's ridiculous how much stuff is out there. It's enough. So people will buy your stuff from you. You can get $1,000 a month doing that. Just do that. You can sell books that you're not reading anymore, or best, go donate them to the library, or go offer to do a children's reading session. Like the sky's the limit. But do what's natural for you and give it away and send the invoice to the universe and watch what happens. It is unreal, and it is real, and it works every time. You might be surprised how it works, but it works every time.
I love it. And I just love what you're sharing, because I see the Trinity in a lot in what you're sharing, especially when you talked about J.K. Rowling's story, right? Where she just saw and then she did, right? And so it brings me back to Genesis, when God, he saw in his mind. So he just had the thought. And then he spoke, let there be. And then there was. And so like, as you're talking, I'm like, that's the principle right there. You got to see it first. You got to speak it and then do it. Right. And then I love like how you're talking. You're like, I don't know how it works. I wish I knew the molecular level of it. That is hilarious to me. But I love that you point out, one, that it works, and two, that you don't know how to, you don't need to know how it works in order for it to work.
Correct.
Just have that faith. And I love that, just give something away, like just sow a seed, right? Like the fact that you were like, I'm just going to teach this high level live. And then I was able to get these sales, right? Now, of course, you have sales systems that are set up so that they could get the sales. Because some people are like, I'm going to do that too. And no, got no sales system. And they're like, why didn't I make any money? Because you don't have a sales system.
You do have to have an offer. Yes. Be very clear. How do you make money? You offer. Yes, correct. No, it's amazing. But I mean, how did you not learn that in manifesting too? I spent the first 5 years going, but no one's paying me. I'm like, oh shit, we sell something. Right. And it's funny, right? Because here we are talking about how magical it is. So we forget, but there is the masculine side.
And I love that you talk about the both, and you really help me to be able to balance the both too. And because I can definitely operate in the masculine. Sometimes I forget about the feminine, right? But that feminine really allows me to connect with Holy Spirit. And he constantly tells me this. He's like, you do your part, I'll do my part. The scary part is, Holy Spirit, are you really going to do your part? Right. And for you, I know you're saying it's the universe, but I actually did this because you told me to do it. I said, well, if she's doing it and she's talking to the universe, I could do it and talk to Holy Spirit. I was like, Lord, I'm going to go to Atlanta anyway. And, I'm going to just let you take care of that. Right. And so I just love that you talk about that. You help women to overcome these lies, to really stand in their power. But you not only teach the spiritual, it's also the practical.
Yes.
And oftentimes we forget, sometimes we're too practical, there's no spiritual. Sometimes we're too spiritual, there's no practical. You got to have a balance for both. So I love that you shared that. So as we're getting ready to wrap up, share with everyone how they can work with you. And I'll go ahead and drop your links in the chat.
Oh, you're the sweetest. Well, yeah, I really appreciate what you said about having an offer, though. Well, let's not forget that piece, right? She couldn't just see Harry Potter's face and then go skip to the moon. And right, we have to do the work too. So I really appreciate you highlighting that because it's so true. So I do take a handful of one-on-one clients. I only have one spot open right now, but I do take one-on-one clients. And some people really like that privacy and that intensity with me. And I'm happy to do that. And then my signature program is called the Abundance Academy. And this is a year-long program where every week we meet together and we do live coaching. I do live trainings on really specific topics. You get Voxer access to me, which everybody loves. If you don't know what that is, it's just a walkie-talkie app. So I'm literally in your pocket. You can be like, Sarah, I'm getting on a sales call and I'm freaking out. And I'll be like, yeah, don't need to because I got your back or whatever. Right? And I'll be right there with you as it happens. We also love celebrating people. There's a group Voxer as well. One of our women just became an author and there's like a party going on in Voxer right now for her. It's so great. And then once a week, you can submit something to me. So let's say you're writing a sales page or you've got some social media you want to work on, or you're really working on how you want to talk to people on sales calls, or you want me to review how you've set up your budget. You don't have to do any of those, but I am totally here for it. And I think, so many times as we're building and even as we're expanding beyond the initial build, it's like, am I just in my head? Is there anyone else here with me? And I think sometimes having another set of eyeballs, it is kind of like manifestation because it makes it more real. And when you know someone else's eyeballs are on your stuff, on the internal stuff, not the highlight reels that are on social media, but the real stuff that you're going through to expand and to bring courage, it's so powerful. And then if you don't want to work with me, but you just want to hang out, I have a YouTube channel and a podcast.
Oh, I love that. And then you also sent us how to write emails that sell. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I would love to. Okay, so here's the deal. Right. I love social media too. And if you are just on it, go call our girl over here and get on the social media, would you please? And what I have found is our biggest business asset is actually our newsletter list. But the thing is, so many people are using ChatGPT now. They're just dialing that in. And that is your most beautiful, potent, heartfelt communication with the people who actually love you enough to have signed up. And so this is a $7 class. And you get my 5 favorite that I've personally written email templates. There's like a cash infusion, like we talked about today. There's one of those. There's engagement, all of those things that you need that I've personally written. You can have those. Those come with the course. So you have 5 awesome templates. And then the course itself on the 3 mistakes most people make, and how you can really get into the level of service that we've been talking about this entire time of keeping your agreement with the universe through your emails, right? Because you can just deliver beautiful value through that and, be like, all right, let's go. I'm keeping my part. And so this class, how to write emails that sell, will really help you dive into that.
I love it. And so I dropped the links in the chat so all of you can get access to it. For those of you who are going to catch the replay, it'll be in the caption and the show notes for LinkedIn and for YouTube. So you can get access to the Abundance Academy as well as how to write emails that sell. And then, of course, follow Sarah so that you can, if you wanted to sign up for her one-on-one, if you wanted to binge her YouTube videos, totally follow her because what she's teaching definitely works. And as you were speaking, right, and you were like, give something away, you were like, you could set up this system. What came to mind was the power of be fruitful and multiply. Right. And so specifically when you were talking about the emails, like that is you, like anyone who purchased that and you put it into work, that is you being fruitful. And we were Sarah kept saying, I don't know molecularly how it works. Spiritually, I just know what God said. If you are fruitful, right, then you're going to multiply. And the emails allow you to multiply. Being part of the Abundance Academy allows you to multiply because whatever is inside of you, when it comes out and you share with other people, the next thing is the multiplication part. And I think oftentimes we forget about that part and we think like, oh my goodness, this isn't going to work, but it is, right? Because biblical principles, they don't discriminate whether you're Christian or not. Right? Like I know people who follow biblical principles and they are not Christian, but it works for them, right? So that be fruitful and multiply part, it stood out to me when you're talking about the writing the emails. I'm like, yeah, this is how you do it right here. So,
Mhm.
so powerful. Sarah, you are such a gem and such a blessing. Thank you for bringing your story. Thank you for bringing your wisdom. Thank you so much for bringing the power of manifestation to the Wisdom to Wealth podcast, for you sharing your journey with us. It has been truly an honor to have you here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been such a joy, and I so appreciate what you're doing. And oh my gosh, let's get everybody out there on the socials
Yes.
doing all the good things. You're the best.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you who tuned in today. We will be back again tomorrow with another episode called You're Not Charging Enough. Here's How to Sell to the Rich. We have this podcast Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So we will see you then. Y'all have a great day.